Yeah, look, it's Ebro in the morning. Laura Stiles, Jemele Hill, and Michael Smith on the program right now. Give it up for them. And salute to these guys because I've watched you guys come from, work your way. Your entire. I used to watch you on, what was that, the Sports Writers. What is it?
Sports Reporters.
Sports Reporters.
Yeah,
I thought you were
Sunday
amazing.
morning,
Then, Michael, you've been working. You were doing like commentary and just like popping in once in a while. And then you guys had your own program and the podcast. And now Sports Center Primetime, 6 o'clock. They got a new logo for you guys, too, I see here. SC6.
And they have a whole new set, new everything, right?
We do. Yeah.
New money.
New money. A lot of resources. And as you guys know, Sports Center is ESPN's baby.
Yeah.
So as much as we're in, the live programming business and, we put on different games, but Sports Center is kind of the essence of ESPN. So for Mike and I, for them to allow us to babysit their baby is a really big
honor.
deal. So, but just for technical purposes, it's called Sports Center, but we're just calling it the 6, more informal.
More informal. How's Drake feel about this 6 talk?
See,
Have you guys checked in?
Go ahead.
No
go
Canadian
ahead, Mike.
connection.
Go ahead,
You're
Mike.
light skinned too. He might think you, and Drake is petty. He might think you coming for y'all got the same lineup.
I was about to say, not just that, I get Drake all the time. I'm like, I'm a lot older than him, so he looks like me. That's the way I look at it. But no, we've gotten that a lot. But the truth of the matter is, internally, it's been called the 6 since we can remember. Just obviously for 6 p.m. Eastern, that's how they would distinguish it. So when people would produce it, it'd be, hey, you're on the 6 today, or you're on the 11 o'clock. So that's where it came from. We just
I don't think OVO fans are going to go for this explanation.
Well, all of them were born in 1998.
As
so
long
of
as they
course
watch.
would.
That's all we care about. But ultimately, we just wanted to make it more informal, more relaxed. SC6 sound like a passcode. It's a nice logo.
Facts.
It does.
Well, look, Jemele, on your social media, you get into politics. And as a black woman, people come at you with all types of race hate. They don't like your political stance. You get the...
You know what that's like.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I saw the other day, they love giving you the, what I call the Negro stay in your box tweets.
Yeah,
Where it's like,
stick to
ain't you
sports.
supposed to just be sticking to sports? You're not supposed to have any other opinion than what you have, than what you have professionally. But does the pressure get bigger for you now? And do you have to curtail some of your commentary because of this primetime slot?
No, I don't see it that way, and nobody has had a conversation with me about it. But here's the thing: is like, am I commentating on politics, or am I just addressing social issues? Everything is not politics. To me, police brutality is not politics. That's an issue of right and wrong. And it's the same thing with the immigration ban. We all know what the values in this country, the ones that we preach, the ones that are supposed promoted. These are supposed to be our foundational core values. That's about values. That is not about politics. So I think people, they're quick to, if you step outside of the sports lane, say, well, go back and stick to sports, which is kind of their way of saying, we don't like your opinion, we disagree with you, and we don't think that you're capable of even entering this space. Meanwhile, they tell me how to do my job all day long, right? Like, you can't meet somebody out on the street that doesn't tell Mike and I, like, I could do what y'all do. I know as much as you guys do, but I'm supposed to stay in my lane. But I'm like, as long as I pay taxes, as long as I'm a citizen, I will have something to say beyond just sports.
And Michael, you do you guys argue? Like, what are the disagreements between you guys?
You mean like argue for real?
Not for real, but I know you guys have a good camaraderie, but I'm sure there's disagreements between you guys over content or.
Oh yeah, we have healthy disagreements when it comes to that. When it comes to how to approach the show, how to produce the show. We've been hands on. Once they put our faces on his and hers, that took it to another level in terms of ownership for us. We still were the same way with Numbers Never Lie, but once it became our baby, it was like, look, we're going to do this our way. And so we don't always agree, but we definitely see eye to eye. As in, we understand where each other's coming from, and we both want the best for it. So,
and there's a mutual respect.
Yeah, there's a mutual respect. And we both know if the other feels strongly about a way to approach it, we'll fall back, and just trust the other one's instinct. So, ultimately we come to a place of like, this is the best way to do it, And I also know with her too, she's not going to argue over every little thing. I'm more detail-oriented. Not that she doesn't care about the details, but I care about some of the more minute details. Yeah. Exactly. So when she actually steps up and is like, yo, I really think this is how we should do that, I'm like, you know what? She really means it. So, I've been married for 13 years, man. So
so you know how to deal.
I know how to navigate.
Pick and choose his battle.
I know how to navigate when it comes to the work wife, just the same way as I do with my home wife.
And he knows he can never win an argument.
So
just because.
I'll let you. But look, I'm gonna go ahead and let her have that because I don't gain anything.
And you're a dad too, so you really know.
You
how
see
to
what I'm
chill.
saying?
You
That's
really
that's
know
the
how to
difference
chill.
between me and her. Because see, I know like as I mature, that's why I tweet less than she does. Because I ain't got time for it. Because I know I don't walk away from arguments.
Right.
So same with her. You know what? You got it. All you. You're good.
Ebro, when they walked in, I was like, yeah, I have something to tell you.
What's
so
up?
I was going to tell you that because before we were preparing for, for the interview, I'm like, I don't know anything about sports. I don't watch it. I'm not really
Yo, I
into
took her
it.
to a Giants game.
Like I'll
I
go
was so
and I'll
pissed
have
I wasted
fun.
the ticket on
But
her.
listen, stop, because I'll have fun when I'm there. I mean, I'm out, I'm drinking beer, eating, and
That's
the
what it's
energy's
about.
amazing and whatever.
Yeah.
He always tries to shit on me because he's like, oh God, you don't even know what's
Wasted
happening. I'm
a
like, so
fucking
what? I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. But I learned about his and hers because, of course, because when Rosenberg was filling in. But I'm just curious for a listener, right? Or for a new viewer that might be interested in checking out your show. Because I know the base is sports, right? But
Right.
you mentioned covering other topics. Do you guys cover anything that's going on, in music also, and
Oh
yeah.
my
and
God!
everything?
Yes, all the time. I mean, I think the best compliments that we would often get would be guys who would say, "My girlfriend or my wife doesn't like sports, but she'll watch you guys because somehow we'll relate something to pop culture, or we'll talk about things in pop culture. Like if we had a show today or yesterday, we would have talked about Beyonce." Dropping twins and trying to break the internet.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
Like
right.
that would have
right.
that would have probably been in the show. Because of Colin Kaepernick, that has given us an entry point to discuss police brutality because a lot of athletes feel very empowered now to speak up about these issues. Certainly with Donald Trump, you have him calling the NFL commissioner a dope, all right? You have Tom Brady having to answer questions about his friendship. And even beyond just, sort of hot button issues like that, we find a way to relate sports to relationships or to family situations. And I think that's why a lot of people really love the podcast because we did that a lot. So, yeah, I mean, I think even if you're a hardcore sports fan like Ebro or you're more casual in and out, I think you'll enjoy it either way.
Yeah, it's got
What
something
if
for
you know
everybody.
absolutely nothing like Laura Stiles?
Well, maybe I'll learn, will I?
I would
I
say
think so because
Yeah.
we try to.
Like,
Yo,
I would have
fam.
never,
Why are
okay?
you- why are
Listen,
you
I would have
doing
never
this,
known
man?
anything about Charles Barkley or the LeBron thing until I heard it. And I read about it. I was like, ooh, shade? Okay.
Yeah. See, you understand.
Well,
you
but that's the
understand
thing.
Now I'm
beef.
interested.
You understand beef.
Yeah, of course.
And we don't necessarily get caught up in the specifics of it. A lot of times we try to Jamele's point, expand it and broaden it out to where even a casual observer can relate to
Right,
it.
right,
We try
right.
to relate it to our own personal experiences and maybe relate it to the viewers who may not be as plugged in the day-to-day and understand, that the Cavs got an empty roster spot or they're not using their trade exceptions. And,
Right.
that's
See,
not.
I would have been like, what? Okay, I
Right,
don't know about that.
right.
But I
It's-
do
it's
know
more
that
about everybody
LeBron
understands
doesn't
beef.
usually say anything, and he finally
Yeah.
claps back, and I was reading all the stuff that he was doing. I never knew all of that about Charles Barkley.
Wow.
And I was like, ooh, I'm glad he said that. But I never knew any of that stuff.
Well, even something as detailed as, San Diego begging the Raiders to come there.
No, absolutely not. Fuck
See?
off.
See, there's so many relationship parallels with that. It's like you break up with somebody, and then the very next person you date looks like exactly like the person that you just broke up with. It's just like, it's so weird. Why would you be begging for another NFL team?
The way you reacted, y'all, you a Raiders fan?
Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't.
Big
Okay.
Raiders
Yes,
fan.
Oakland, California. I was
Okay.
born in Berkeley. Shout out to Berkeley, too. Y'all got it in last night. Not really with all the violence and all that, but Berkeley doesn't play. But yes.
So how did you, I mean, I have to imagine you were probably against the Las Vegas and
I
move and all
found
that.
a way to feel okay about the Las Vegas thing, even though I wasn't happy about it. But Las Vegas doesn't have the money I read, right? There's a
Oh, yeah,
financial
Goldman
issue.
Sachs pulled out.
Yeah. So and I do know that with the changes going on in Oakland with the taxes that they're now getting with property taxes going up and there's more money there, Oakland and the public school system has already gotten burned once, right? Because when Al Davis brought the Raiders back from LA, they took money, tax money, and built a stadium and supported the Raiders coming back, and Oakland public schools lost. And I think people who lived through that don't want to see that happen again.
Yeah,
And-
as much as these teams mean to the fabric of their communities, and nobody more so than the Raiders in Oakland, you can't be subsidizing these owners' hustle.
No, no.
That stadium hustle.
Yeah,
we gotta.
And on top of
everybody
that, and I don't know where it's at. Some of it is ego because the new Niner facility or the new South Bay facility, whatever it's
'cause
called,
that's not in
Levi's
San
or-
Francisco.
Levi's or whatever it is. These major market stadiums are all built for two teams. The one in LA is built for two teams. This one in South Bay is built for two teams.
Yeah.
Obviously, MetLife here, two teams. And the Raiders are like, nah, we're not moving in there.
Yeah.
But are they going to be forced to move into that Levi Stadium in the South Bay because it is built for two teams?
Well, just in general, I mean, getting to Mike's point about this ownership hustle, it's funny how people in the business community and even just regular constituents, they're quick to take off on somebody who is receiving public assistance. But corporate welfare is all good all day long. And we talking about dudes dealing with billions and billions of dollars. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm petty. Let a team leave my city. You are dead to me. I would never root for you again. Because most times they're leaving because they can't get something that they want.
So you would turn on Detroit Lions
in a minute.
That.
Well, I'm not a Lions fan, so it doesn't matter.
I thought you was from Detroit.
I am, but I'm not a Lions fan. I'm a 49ers fan. That's a conversation for another day. I know. I'm Detroit.
Does that offend
else.
you the same way if she were like a Chiefs or Broncos fan? Does that offend you?
No, it doesn't offend me at that level.
Okay.
It perplexes me like a Cowboys fan in D.C. or like a Cowboys fan in New York. It's like,
okay, but see, that's different. They're in the same division, okay?
Yeah. And Cowboys fans in D.C. got an interesting story that I'm not even qualified to break down, but I had somebody
it is based on the fact that the Redskins
mascot,
were the and the Redskins were the last team to integrate.
Yeah,
so a lot of black people became Cowboys fans.
Yeah. So no, for me, it was my mother. She went to junior college in the Bay Area. That's where I was conceived. Cute little fun fact.
All right.
So she loved Joe Montana. She loved the 49ers. And she liked the Lions too, but they were so bad when I was growing up. It was like, why would I pay attention to this team? Like,
we live in Detroit. We got enough problems. Why are we going to
see, why you got to go there?
Why we need a team
why
that's
can't we have nice things?
But who's in better shape right now, the Lions or the 49ers? So, it's not too late to go back home. You can always go back home.
I can't do that now.
Let's go back to Charles Barkley and LeBron because I love every piece of it. Okay? Look. Charles Barkley as a player, I was very entertained by. Charles Barkley on television, very entertaining. He's outspoken. I've always believed that the reason he was so popular, though, not only because he's outspoken, but because of the way that he speaks, was entertaining to people, and they really enjoyed watching him stumble over words and mispronounce things, and that made him popular, right? I never liked, I knew his political stances. I knew, what he was, he's kind of like a good old boy, like that was kind of his MO. So I was always side-eyeing Charles. But this LeBron incident, I love how LeBron handled it. What I don't understand is the backlash it appeared that LeBron got. Can you guys or Michael, did you watch this and why were people coming for LeBron?
Because we've been asking that for 15 years, though, right? You know what I'm saying? People going to find excuses.
Well, some of it has a base. People say he's soft. People say he doesn't. He's not a leader. Those are all.
So those people that say that now, even though he's won 3 championships and even though they just came down 3-1, what Charles was saying spoke to them. Like, they agree with it. Like, I mean, and Jemele speak for herself in a second, but we had a disagreement. You want to talk about arguments? We've been disagreeing over the basis of LeBron's complaint and whether or not he was legitimate in voicing those complaints about what the team has or hasn't done to put a complete team around him this year, even if that he's talking about the back end of the roster. But in terms of what Charles said and what LeBron said, I was here for it just as much as anybody because he's been taking the high road for 13 years. And I was, when you were a kid, people were like, yo, who would you like to be? If you could trade places with somebody, who would it be? And I wouldn't trade places with anybody right now. But if I were in that mindset, LeBron wouldn't be on the list. I could not imagine walking, despite his gifts, despite his fame, despite his accomplishments, people have been coming for him on every platform and every medium possible since he debuted in high school.
Well, and also the real dagger was the Miami move.
Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But my point is, when somebody, especially, and if Charles Barkley's always, criticized LeBron, sometimes fairly, but a lot of times it just takes that 11th person to snap. You could ignore the first 10, but when that 11th person comes at you and starts talking about, that you don't want to compete. I mean, he's competing with Michael Jordan. He's competing with a Warriors team that got Kevin Durant. So to question his competitive spirit, just went way over the line. And I didn't mind LeBron coming personal because when you look at it, he was right when it comes to that. LeBron has done everything right. I mean, you can disagree with some of the moves if you think, he shouldn't have gone to Miami or he's got a loaded team, this, that, and the other. But in terms of how he's conducted himself.
And quality of character.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and what he's done off the court.
I'm sure you guys, you all have had arguments with women before. Let me ask you this. When you arguing with a woman and you're trying to stay on point with a particular issue, and then she hits you with, but what about in 1982 when you went to that girl? What about that? Then you just like, but they had nothing to do.
Why you bringing up old shit?
Exactly,
That's the first
right?
thing I said.
So here's the thing.
He had it pent up.
He might have had
It was like, you know
he
what?
might have had it pent up.
So you're comparing LeBron's argument to a female argument, is what I heard.
No,
just now.
what I'm saying is that like women are often accused of arguing that way, of hitting below the belt. Even if we're in the wrong or right, it doesn't matter. We'll come at you with something that is unrelated to what we're actually talking about. So I'll say this. Charles Barkley went too far because he attacked two things that athletes can't stand. Competitiveness is one, because you're really questioning his heart, right? And when he called him whiny. Whiny is a trigger word. The strength, I thought, of what Charles Barkley said was right. But this is where me and Mike, where we disagree. LeBron, I didn't think that the way in which he just kind of went off about the team not building around him, I didn't think that was right because he did it in front of the media. The Cavs have spent more money than any NBA team the last 3 seasons. So to come at them like y'all not doing enough, it's like, bro, we just won a championship with these same guys. Not only that, how your teammates supposed to feel? Like you basically telling them, y'all ain't doing. I'm doing what I got to do. I don't know what y'all doing, but I'm doing what I have to do. And there are times where LeBron likes to both be the man and be the victim at the same time.
But see,
so
I'm kind of
And
everybody.
but
I'm
you
sick
also
of everybody
have
being in
to,
their feelings,
Michael,
though,
you have
man.
to throw this in there. LeBron has challenged his teammates in this manner before.
But he wasn't well, he was sort of challenging them. He was more or less going at management. I'm just like, that wasn't a conversation you couldn't have behind closed doors.
I presume he had it, number one. Number two, I'm not here for everybody. Everybody getting their feelings all the time. This is show business. This ain't show friends. And the people he was talking about was not Kyrie Irving or Kevin Love or Tristan Thompson or Iman Shumpert. He was talking about no names at the back end of the roster, and the fact
Which
that his
made
understanding,
it even more ridiculous.
the understanding that
Raymond
he had,
Felton gonna win you a title? Really?
Well, when you only got 2 cats that's creating for other players.
So Mario Chalmers is gonna be the answer.
Look at the facts
Like,
of the
all right,
situation.
man.
When you got 2 cats that's creating, my point is, if you have an understanding with the owner that money's not going to be an object, whether or not they've set records for spending or not, if your understanding is you will spare no expense and you're sparing a roster spot, you're not waiving people, you're not using all your exceptions at your disposal. Meanwhile, whether it's the Warriors or anybody else making moves to getting better, I understand his beef.
frustration.
But it's the same thing with Wade. I'm gonna connect this with Wade and Jimmy Butler in Chicago. Like, oh, you shouldn't have done that in public. So you can embarrass me publicly, but I can't embarrass you. When the media come to me and ask me why we struggling, why we underachieving, I got to sit up here and play nice and say, well,
That's a different situation.
No, it's not a different
It is.
situation.
How was the organization was not embarrassing LeBron.
But if the organization makes a move and trades anybody in order to improve, that's implicitly saying y'all weren't good enough. So LeBron saying it, hey, you know what? We got to get better in certain areas. He's earned the right to be able to play GM, coach, whatever he wants to play.
I'm all good
because
with
you
that.
know what? That gets you to 6 and possibly 7 straight
I'm
finals.
all good
So
with
I'm
that.
here.
But
I don't care about
publicly
nobody's feelings.
putting him on Front Street, that was
He
whack.
didn't put him on Front Street.
It
He
was
said we
whack.
need another playmaker. He didn't say we were terrible. We need another playmaker. Do they have enough playmakers in his estimation? Maybe you don't think so. Maybe you think they do. In his estimation, they don't have enough people making plays for people around him, even if it's the 12th man.
Look, he just mad because
Did
Kevin
the-
Durant went to Golden State,
Okay,
and I understand that because he's looking at them.
Or let's assert this. This all started to flare up around the time Melo and the Knicks were
I have
talking about
wondered
moving
about
things
this.
around.
Or not
I've
just that,
wondered
Phil
about
Jackson,
that.
too.
And
Keep
Phil
in mind,
Jackson,
he's still
too.
pissed about Phil. Yeah.
So, and LeBron's still pissed about
Yeah.
that. Is some of this attitude, and whether it's the Bulls and even the Cavs, are people really trying to make moves to get Melo?
I did wonder about that, if whether the real sort of source of his frustration was the fact that according to the reports, when Cleveland, they came to LeBron and said, look, we're not trading for Carmelo. They didn't leave the door open, as in, maybe we can talk this out and maybe we'll see if this really is the right move. And we know that they're boys. And if they made that decision and he's mad at that, hey, I can't blame them for thinking that way. Why? Because ultimately it would have been a Kevin Love for Carmelo swap. So if LeBron is mad about that, it's like, sorry, dude.
Now let me
they
ask
made
you
the
this.
right decision.
Do you like that swap?
No,
I don't think it makes him better. I think
it doesn't make
him
him
different.
better. Yeah.
I think it makes him different. I don't think it makes him better.
Yeah, and so if he's upset about that again, that gets to my point
I
about
also
sometimes
heard a rumor that
you gotta fall back.
there was a discussion. Between Melo and LeBron at some point where LeBron had not publicly, but behind the scenes said he wanted, LeBron is on his charity, I'm going to get you a ring for my boy thing, right? Where it was kind of like, look, I think people who love Melo, right? And even whether you're a fan of the NBA or even a fan of the Knicks, You want to see somebody like Melo
Now,
get a ring.
now, are you a Knicks fan or
Absolutely not.
Are you a Warriors fan?
No, I'm a Lakers fan.
Lakers fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
and there's a long story. My dad was a Lakers fan.
That makes
and
total sense.
People in the Bay didn't like, or people in Oakland had a thing with Golden State back in the day because they were really the San Francisco Warriors and not didn't represent the whole Bay,
Right.
and so it was Lakers and
No, that makes sense.
So, is that possibly true where LeBron is out here having these conversations where he's like, "Nah, I'll bring you with me. We'll get this ring," because he's done that for a couple of people.
Well, I'm sure those conversations, especially with him and Melo, have been going on for years and
And
years.
CP3, if you want to throw him in
Right.
there.
If Melo wanted it to happen, it could have happened by now. Honestly, I think all of the Melo trade rumors are starting with the Knicks just begging somebody to give them something of value in exchange. Like, they keep going at the Cavs for Kevin Love. They keep going at the Clippers and trying to get a third team, Celtics, whoever. They give us something to get rid of this albatross of a contract. I don't believe, I don't know this for sure, I don't believe LeBron is in Melo's ear saying, yo, man, come on. Like, because that opportunity was there. When Melo was a free agent, he didn't line up, or when he was redoing his contracts, he never lined them up in accordance with what LeBron was doing.
Phil. He had
Well, even before that,
Even
he
before that,
signed
when he
longer term
could've- he
deals.
could've done-
He never did the 1-year opt-out deal like LeBron was doing.
Look, here's the thing, and this is not a criticism, it's just a fact, is that when Melo has reached that fork in the road in his career, he has chosen the money. And this is what you're left with. I said that if Phil really was intent on changing the organization, that he should have never re-signed Carmelo. It was the best for both of them, right? Because then you don't have to deal with some super big contract, and then you're in this win now mode as opposed to building through the draft, even though it was kind of by accident and it wasn't what they expected. Look what happened. They got Porzingis, right? That needs to be your future and your focus, and they can't do that with Carmelo sitting there. Those were things everybody knew a few years ago. So even though here in New York, there's this mentality that we always have to have a star. Maybe you needed to hit bottom.
They needed to trust the process.
They did.
They needed to.
They totally did.
The mistake
Maybe
was
not
signing,
as extreme as Philly, but they needed to do something
the
similar.
mistake was signing the Roses and the Noahs
Oh,
of the world
totally,
because it made you just good enough to like tease with a playoff spot or contend at the back end as opposed to being at the top of the lottery and get another Porzingis.
And now they can't get rid of Melo.
Yeah.
Well, and they don't, and I think the Knicks are, look, I shit on the Knicks a lot. Knicks fans really don't like it, but I think my frustration with the Knicks is the fact that I want to live in a city where the teams are good, right? I want to live in a city where where you have the Knicks, who are the number one money-making team in the NBA and can't get to a championship. The games are sold out all the time. And so that tells me that the ownership is taking advantage of the fans, because the ownership knows no matter what we put out here on the floor, y'all coming to buy tickets. Y'all buying jerseys. Y'all buying hot dogs and all this other shit, right? So what the fuck do we got to spend to get infrastructure, coaches, et cetera, to get to a championship when y'all can buy the tickets anyway, like you just said a minute ago?
It's a fascinating fan base because what ends up happening instead of
you said it was the entertainment business.
Right, but instead of taking the fans that you're talking about, I find that instead of taking that frustration and either boycotting the team or taking it out on the team, they take it out on the rest of the country for mocking the Knicks. It's almost like
the fans go hard.
So they end up getting defensive.
Yes.
When you call
They
a
mad
spade
at
a
me all the
spade. You know what I'm
time.
saying?
Yeah,
that's
it's just
fine.
like, but y'all
But that's
suck.
New
They're
York.
like, no, we don't.
No, but that's New York.
Right.
That's New
So
York.
now it becomes
New York
now
don't
we
talk
go
shit.
we go rally around our
New
bad
York
team.
can talk about New York. You know the
That's
rules.
exactly right. That's exactly
You know
right.
the rules.
That's
Yeah,
exactly right.
So true.
Knicks fans can trash the Knicks,
That's
but
it.
if you ain't a Knicks fan,
Don't
keep
say
the
shit.
Knicks out their mouth.
And
shit.
they won't just tell you you're garbage for talking about that team. They will cuss you full out.
It's New York City.
Wait, I have a question. So what's Melo's status right now?
Contract-wise?
Yeah,
I believe
is
he's
he
got
staying? Is it
2
happening?
years left.
Well, he's staying until they find somebody who would take this contract off their
And
hands
that he
get
because
something
he has
for
a no
value in
trade.
exchange.
Yeah,
Right.
no trade clause.
Which he keeps waffling about whether or
Yeah.
not, well, if they want to hit the reset
See,
button,
and
something I'd have
that's
to consider.
another thing.
It's
Why
like-
would you give that dude a no trade clause? Like, just why? It's just mind.
Didn't you say something? Didn't we read something about him saying that he mentioned Lala, his wife, if his wife wants to
Yes.
leave,
Yeah.
then he'll
Family
consider leaving?
considerations, yeah.
Which is why I don't think Boston, even though basketball wise, Boston is the
They
best.
third in the East right now?
Yeah, they're the best option for him. He would never, that market, considering all the things she has going on.
Right.
And I mean, I
It's
think
close enough. It ain't like
it
going
is,
across the
but I think
country.
they like being in the center of an entertainment capital like a New York, like a LA.
Yeah.
Hence why the
I
Clippers
like
would make
watching y'all
sense.
argue about Charles Barkley and LeBron. At 6 o'clock on Sports Center, will things get that heated?
Yeah,
Yes,
and here's the thing.
yes.
I mean, you
Or do you guys have to do
No.
the
Let's
overproduce. Like,
No.
all right, Mike,
No,
you get
no.
one rebuttal.
No.
All right,
No.
Jemele, you go.
Can
all right,
I-
we got to go to commercial.
We've been doing a lot of media. It's been like a campaign tour these last couple of weeks. We're tired of hearing our own voices, but I really want to stress this for the people that are familiar with us and have watched us on His and Hers, or for people that think they know what SportsCenter is. Forms of that question have constantly been asked. You asked about getting into politics on social media or getting into social issues on television. That's been a hallmark of our show. That's a hallmark of who we are. We couldn't look ourselves in the mirror. We wouldn't be authentically our unapologetic selves if we went on television and censored ourselves. So part of the move to SportsCenter was with the understanding we're not changing. SportsCenter's changing to accommodate what we were doing successfully, I might add. So whether it's the tone of our conversations, the subject matter, the content of our conversations, the energy, the spoofs, everything. That's what we're bringing to this show. So nothing's changing. So that's why I said off camera, man, if you serious, you can fall through. That's we here.
Just got to take out the cuss words. It's all good.
Y'all think Disney really is going to let Ebro at 6 o'clock? Why you shaking your head?
Hey, if they gave us a show at 6.
Nah, it's different. They're going to look at my Instagram and be like, hold up.
Look, you're not the first person that has come through ESPN with some
facts.
wild stuff on
Facts.
Instagram.
They'll let you be a
saying.
guest, but that's about it. They're like, thank you, goodbye.
No, we'll look out for you.
Rosenberg didn't filled in.
Rosenberg light work compared to me. I might go
Yeah,
now.
it's completely
Everybody
different.
Fuck off.
Completely different.
Well, we'll tape your segment.
Yeah,
That
we'll
way
just throw the beeps in there, so you'll be
That's what
okay.
we'll do, yeah.
Jemele Hill, Michael Smith, ESPN. I'm gonna pick a record. What do y'all want to hear right now? I want y'all to pick a record while y'all up here. I want let's get into some music talk because I'm at Michael. You a big hip hop fan? We gotta talk about top 5 MCs.
Oh,
Has to
Jesus.
happen.
Again.
Has to
Man,
happen.
I
Has to
am-
happen.
I-
And
all I'm-
Jemele, you gonna talk top five R&B superstars.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got into some arguments.
Because I know you're a big Beyonce fan. But
I am, but
But
no, it's no but. Sorry, I don't want the hive. Trust me, I don't want any problems.
Yeah,
but
no buts.
the way you position that
Oh,
was
exactly.
like I'm out here doing her routines or something. Like I'm a fan. I like her.
If I was,
I've seen her many times.
this
She's
gonna
cool.
get crazy.
Oh, I want to hear this.
If I was, so you about to play something? If I was getting in the
If
car,
you was a DJ right now, what you want to?
I throw on Run the Jewels.
I knew
That's
he was
all I'm
gonna
playing
say
right
that.
now. Is Run the
Run the
Jewels.
I knew he was
Jewels 3.
gonna
Which
say
one?
that.
Play
RTJ
Kill Your
too.
Masters. We could play Kill Your Masters. It's hot 9-7.
You
Let's
can play
get
that.
to it.
Give me Thursday in the Danger Room.
Let's go. Michael Smith, Jemele Hill, Sports Center, 6 o'clock. They will be there. When does it start?
February 6th, day after the
February
Super
6th.
Bowl.
Oh,
Nice.
6 on the 6th, huh?
Yeah, I mean that's one way to look at it.
That's what's happening.
But we blessed and highly favored though.
There you go. Hey, whose name usually goes first?
I think yours is
Well,
going first, right?
it
You
went.
guys beef over that?
No, it went first with his and hers to correspond with the pronouns, obviously. But in terms of whether or not you introducing us, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm first on the. Hey. It is what it is.
Jemele, let me take you somewhere.
We know who carries the show. No, I'm kidding.
See, that's all right.
I'm kidding.
So
Acting out
Jemele,
for
let
the
me shout to the homie Carrie Champion. Right?
Yeah,
I watched,
yeah.
Sage Steele, you Jemele Hill, and look, all the women and black women at ESPN who have worked in sports journalism, which isn't easy for women, and
True.
definitely for black women. Talk about, give me some of the biggest struggles for you as a black woman sports journalist.
Well, I think when I first got to ESPN, I was a writer, number one. They didn't hire me to be on television. And so I came in with opinions. I had been a columnist in Orlando, so I had that part down pat. But at the time, there wasn't a whole lot of space for women who could drive shows with their opinion. We certainly had seen them as anchors, as sideline reporters, on pregame shows, postgame shows. They were normally in roles where they teed up other experts or other athletes and facilitated the conversation. And so where sports was, I kind of didn't fit. And Mike and I, one of the reasons why we have such a close relationship is that we've both gone through that period where they didn't know what to do with us. And so for me, I wondered how long I was going to be at ESPN, being that I was in a non-traditional role. And there weren't a lot of executives running around there trying to give black women with sports opinions television shows. So I just had to wait my time. And, Mike and I very much won the war of attrition. People came and left. There were certain issues, I hate to say it, like Ray Rice, like domestic violence, that became an invitation not to be patronizing, to include more women in the commentary space. And from that, you saw a huge leap in terms of seeing women not just hosting shows, but being on panels to discuss not just domestic violence, but games and all. It just opened up a new arena, in other words. So for me, it was just having to be a bit of an outlier, because people would always say to me all the time, there's nobody like you. There's not a lot of black women in sports doing what you do. Well, that's good and bad, because being the first sometimes ain't what it's cracked up to be, because in TV it's a copycat business.
And when you say do what you do, can you, for the people watching that may have not seen your work right here, because Hot 97 known for music and we turn up, et cetera, what is so special about what it is that you do?
I think it was just because of my career arc. As I said, I wasn't an anchor. I was not, even though I did sideline reporting for one college football season, I wasn't that. I wasn't Aaron Andrews. I wasn't Pam Oliver. So,
you're not a broadcaster. You're not a
no. What I
trade.
did is akin to let me think of a sports. I guess like Stephen A. Smith, but much quieter. Just wasn't as loud. I mean, that's what he does. He's an opinionist. Skip Bayless,
an agitator.
Yes, I was in that realm. Not necessarily an agitator, because that sounds like it's fake. I'm not a wrestling heel. Okay,
right, but an editorialist,
correct.
And somebody with a provocative opinion that people may disagree with.
There wasn't a lot of women who there was space for them to do that. I mean, certainly women who could do it and who wanted to do it, but real estate was hard to come by. So, and then, it's just even because television is a visual medium and it's ruthless on women. And that's not to say that I don't think I'm fine. So it's not that. It's just that when you look across the networks, you usually see, blonde white girls. Yep. That's what you usually see.
Most of the time, yes.
So I didn't fit that mold either. So physically, I wasn't what was in vogue. And certainly from my commentary, wasn't in vogue either. So it was just a matter
Odds were
of
stacked.
Yeah, I mean, it just eventually it's a mantra that Mike and I live by. Eventually, they'll learn to like it.
Right.
So it came around, and one thing I'm happy I didn't do is I didn't change to try to fit what they thought their idea of who and what a woman should be doing on television. I wasn't going to do that. I was just going to stay myself and just let the chips fall where they may.
And you, Michael, interesting path. Also, a writer first, right?
Yeah.
Journalist first. And, I remember, rest in peace Stuart Scott, when we used to watch him and he would put in popular slang into the sports reports, and it was cool, right? And I remember my dad and, some of my uncles was like, yeah, that's how that's how they do the black man. You got to get up there and, say slang words and do all this shucking and jiving. You can't just get up there and speak articulately and be liked, right? It was kind of like
That's interesting.
My uncles kind of used to get at him about that.
That's
Not that we didn't like seeing him on television, but that was the slight against him. And I heard some black men say that. You didn't see a lot of black men in prime time on sports, and especially on Sports Center. And now you're on in prime time. There is a Stephen A. Smith now, and there's obviously tons of other men of color of all different walks of life there. But you, sir, are not somebody who just gets up there to be the cool black guy. Like I
don't know how to be cool. So,
but you know what I'm saying? Like you ain't just trying to use the slang of the day to be entertaining. Like you really approach things from a detailed perspective. Was that a challenge? Did you ever feel like because you weren't the slang using, swagged out dude, things were harder for you?
Yes and no. I appreciate the detail part, but I mean, I use the slang that comes naturally to me.
Right.
I just talk like I'm from
and it's from New Orleans.
I'm from New Orleans. I just say whatever naturally comes out. Now, granted, I can't use every piece of slang, and we all have to curb our speech to a certain extent.
Right. You got to code switch.
In order to project, and that's for everybody, in order to project, to a national audience. But going back to something you said a second ago, and it applies to me too, with the criticism of Stewart, and now he's seen as a pioneer.
That's right.
Stewart was just being himself. He was ahead of the game. People had to learn to like it, or they eventually caught up to him. But he was just being who he was. I don't think he was trying to be anything. He was
having fun.
Right. He wasn't trying to shuck and jive or this, that, and the other.
That was actually an argument I got into. I was like, why he can't just get on TV and have fun?
Well, I don't know if you've seen it because it hasn't run that much, but we got this commercial right now where Jemele and I are dancing to It Takes Two.
Mm-hmm.
And, full disclosure, so the creative, the vision for the commercial was kind of put together at the last minute. And so give me a second on this because I want to get to your larger point.
Mm-hmm.
So the creative was put together kind of the last minute. We show up the next day and find out that It Takes Two by Rob Bass is going to be the song. Classic song, but honestly not the song we would have picked because it's kind of obvious. We'd have probably picked Black Star or something like that. You know, we'd have probably picked Respiration. Who knows? So anyway, they picked It Takes Two for us. And we get in there and wardrobe has these jogging suits and gold chains and these Flavor Flav clocks.
It's like straight out of Bamboozled.
And these Reeboks. Well, I said, look here. I was like, I'm gonna choose if and when I decide to play the stereotype.
That's right.
Like, I'm not about to sit up here and put this on and make a fool of myself because yes, we have done Coming to America and Step Brothers and Boys in the Hood and Empire. And
for Halloween, these were
any time of year.
Yeah.
We've done
We
these
did
schools.
Boys in the Hood for Halloween.
We don't take
Yeah.
ourselves too seriously.
Right.
We've done these things, but this just in my spirit, I'm like, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm not compromising our image, and we certainly don't want people thinking that the clown show is coming till 6 o'clock. You understand what I'm saying? So we were cognizant of that. But even with us just having fun and being ourselves and dancing to It Takes Two, because nobody has
In our
more fun
professional
than us.
clothes.
In our professional clothes, there was still a sentiment of people that was like, why the black folks got to dance? Even though that's just us being us. So you always kind of, that balance between, being, unapologetically black, but cooning. You always balancing that. Like, that you can have fun without cooning.
That's right.
And I think we walk that line perfectly. On the flip side, though, if you come on and you articulate your words perfectly, your syntax and your grammar are impeccable, your vocabulary is outstanding.
You a square, you a cornball.
You're a square or cornball, or white people. Why are you trying to be white?
Yep.
Right.
Just be black.
Yeah.
Right.
You ain't white. So it's like you damned if you do, you damned if you don't.
You're
You know
not
what I
gonna
mean?
make everybody happy.
You have to go on there and just be yourself and get better at being yourself. That was the best advice I ever got in my
And
entire
be
career.
great.
Get better at being you. So I'm like, you know what? We taping this, right?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure. I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. You don't fuck with me. It doesn't matter. Like eventually, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn a lot. I'm an acquired taste, but I always go down smooth. You know. So eventually, you're gonna be like, you know what? At first,
I like that motherfucker.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because look, I'm the master of the no game.
Yeah.
Like I got no game. I don't
right.
recognize
That's right.
when game is being thrown at me. You know what I'm saying? I'm that dude. So I don't try to be cool. I just be who I am. Right. And if you perceive that as cool, so be it. So the slang I use, trust me, we get stuff all the time. We get called BSPN, BET on ESPN.
Right.
And especially when we talk about these issues of morality, again, not politics, but morality. People get uncomfortable seeing a black man and a black woman discuss Black Lives Matter in an unapologetic way, discuss the election in an unapologetic way, and not going out of our way to break down the Affordable Care Act or this disaster of emission in Yemen.
But just how you feel.
Just how we feel when it comes into our space. But the stick to sports crowd, getting back to that, because we get a lot of that on our show. That's also, not only is it an insult to suggest that we're not intellectually capable enough to carry on an intelligent conversation about political issues or social issues, it's also a very privileged position to take, because the people that's saying that are the people where sports can be an escape for them. For a large population of the country, mostly people of color or women, it's not an escape. You can't turn to sports and say, well, I'm not going to be black for the next 3 hours. The issues that have, the systemic issues in this country that are making my life, less bountiful and less productive than somebody else's, I'm going to turn on the game and forget that happened because I'm going to live vicariously through LeBron James. It doesn't work that way.
I'm actually reminded that he had limited options and had to go this way just to get his family out the hood a lot of times.
These players, they know that just because, and if they don't know, they learn the hard way. Just because you wear a jersey, just because you can dunk a basketball, just because you can score, you can get pulled over just like anybody else, at the end of the day.
Right.
So oftentimes, and we've talked about this before, it's really a disrespect to history, to the Jackie Robinsons, to the Muhammad Ali's, sports has always driven the conversation when it comes to how to improve society. And we'll take the Pepsi Challenge with anybody when it comes to the quality and the fairness and the accuracy of our conversation. So if there's something that we're saying that you find offensive, then you probably need to check yourself on some of the privileges that you bring into the conversation.
Facts. Top 5 MCs, Michael Smith, go.
I get a do-over. This changes for me every week.
And by the way, for those that don't have kind of an evolving top 5 based on what you were kind of listening to right now or what's relevant, I don't really think that your hip hop tastes are as broad as they should be.
I appreciate that. Okay, I feel better.
Because mine evolved. Like I might
Totally chill.
Redman is gonna be in my top 5. I'm gonna have KRS, Rakim, right? And then I might get Hove and then Nas. And you'd be like, well, what about Pac? And then I might be rocking in some Pac and be in the 90s zone and go Pac and Big and M and
the authority
my
just told
thing
me I was
kinda-
cool for Waffle.
That might,
Good. All right,
authority, use that loosely because you know that come from me. Right? So
No.
what you got today?
Well, I'll tell you 2 that's never coming out my top 5. So that though I don't waver on Black Thought as 1, 3 Stacks is 2. That's
Period. End of discussion.
It. Those
Even
2.
though 3 Stacks solo albums and solo projects are limited.
Yeah, no, we just had that
We
conversation.
just had that conversation,
about
yeah.
the fact that he doesn't put out a lot of work. So can you compare him
As
to
a
somebody
solo,
like Hove?
yeah.
Yeah, as a solo. But yeah, I
And
mean,
most of his
But as a
bars that
lyricist.
we've gotten, even on the speaker box, Love Below album, the Love Below album was mostly singing.
right. But still, I mean, in terms of skill, in terms of content, in terms of manipulating
Checks
the
all the
language,
boxes.
checks
All the
every box. So he's my number 2. And then in no particular order after that, I would go. I would put Nas in there today. Sometimes, and that's no disrespect to him, but I've waffled on that. We have this argument all the time. Since you told me the rules, can I put Black Star in there, or I
No.
gotta pick
Nope.
one?
No,
Damn,
you gotta pick one.
I'm
that's
trying
a
to
group.
put
That's
both-
a different convo because then that's the top
That's the
5
group.
groups
Yeah,
convo.
yeah.
Thank you.
Today I'll put Mos in. Last week I put Talib in. Today I'll put Mos in for fairness' sake. All right.
And plus, he could travel back to the States now. Y'all seen Bays run around the city and things like that. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, and for my 5th, who's my 5th that I'm just thinking skills right now. Eminem, just
Wow.
skills. Eminem.
Jemele, your top 5.
All right, the 2 that's never coming out for me would be Nas.
No, I'm sorry. I'm
What?
sorry. Big
B.I.G.
over Eminem. Big.
Are you playing to the crowd?
No, not at all. I'm just thinking about like what it. I didn't
I'm
even
just
cut you
ma-
off.
I'm
I
yet.
started
with
thinking
you.
racially. Keep it 100.
Well,
Keep
when
it 100. You was like, I can't put a white boy in my top
No, it's
5.
not
Keep it
that
100.
because in terms of pure skill, y'all know
I
Eminem
know.
could put him up against anybody. I'm thinking about. I was trying to put it like who are the people. My favorite, like top 5 and favorite 5 is 2 different things. So who are the people that when I get in the car, that's what I'm putting on?
And
on a
also,
long drive,
some
probably
people.
big.
So there's also the piece of the dialogue that has to go into. Yes, there's skill set, but then there's ability to make songs.
True.
You know what I mean? Because you might have somebody who has phenomenal skill set, but albums are trash.
Yeah.
Song
Yeah.
ain't that good. So that also I think plays into sometimes how people pick their top 5.
That's
Sorry
funny.
about
That
that,
used to be my the basis of my Monica when we were having this debate, Monica versus Brandy. Like I thought vocally that Monica was incredible. No?
I mean, she's great. She's phenomenal.
Right, but I thought Brandy had way better songs.
No, Brandy, and honestly, they shouldn't even be compared vocally.
Yeah.
I'm actually a vocal enthusiast myself, and they shouldn't be compared because they're very different.
They're
But Brandy's,
extremely
Brandy's runs and tone and texture and it's just it's
Yeah,
different.
I enjoyed.
Shout out to Monica, love your voice.
Yes,
bro.
I do too. But on the desert island, Brandy's coming with me.
But you're doing top 5 rappers. I want
Yes,
to hear your rappers.
Nas and Black Thought are never coming out.
Okay.
After that, Ice Cube.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah, because I feel like, when I was thinking about sort of the rapper that for me, that was the go-to. I mean, it was NWA was a part of that, but when he went solo, like
Incredible.
America's Most Wanted, Death Certificate, like
Kill It Will.
so much
Amazing
there.
album.
After that, I'm gonna go Biggie, and then because like yours, Mike, mine changes every week.
Yeah.
So this week, I probably will go with Kara as one. I've been listening to him a lot lately.
Neither one of us said Rakim. Neither one of us said Rakim.
Wait.
Rakim
Yeah.
was
Rakim was
is
in
a
my last
glaring
time I did
omission
this.
in mine.
I mean, but you said it changes all the time.
Well, speaking
It's
of glaring,
hard.
speaking of glaring omissions,
Yeah. Hove?
nobody's gonna pick Jay-Z.
I picked Jay-Z last time I did this. All right, I just wanted to-
Congratulations, by the way.
You played yourself?
No. I meant for the twins.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah,
You played
man.
yourself tonight.
Yeah.
Why no Hove today?
Well, that's why I was making a distinction between top 5 and favorite 5. It's like, you know what? Let's take it back to sports if you don't mind for a second. If you said who are the top 5 quarterbacks in NFL history, Super Bowl championships is going to automatically come
Always
into the
go into
conversation, right? But if you said who are the best passers in NFL history, well, now you're talking about your Warren Moons, your Dan Marinos, you're talking about those cats, right? So when it comes to this conversation, that's why I always say who are my favorite? And I love Hove, but I can only pick 5. He wouldn't make the top 5 in terms of people I enjoy listening to the most. But when you talk about
he
his,
got hits, bro.
Well,
and he got
that's
the
what I'm saying.
records. Like if you go
So that's
through
what
the
I'm saying
Jay-Z
about best.
discography,
but that's what I'm talking about best. When you talk about the greatest of all time in terms of his accomplishments,
got chips,
his
though. He got
impact,
chips.
his bars, everything about him, checking all the boxes, he's obviously in the top 5. But Michael Smith's favorite 5. No, you know what I mean? I don't put him in my favorite 5, but top 5 is undeniable what this man has done. Does that mean,
I feel like
it's
man
a
got
subtle
twins
difference.
on the way. You gonna disrespect him, man?
I would never
You gonna
disrespect Hov.
him right
No.
now.
Never disrespect.
No, but he's your example in terms of ability to make a record, correct?
Making records, and just what he's done overall as an artist.
Yeah.
Like,
The
right, and
undeniable.
his ability to do more. And here's the thing that I think. Cohesive stories, yes, people have bars and they say clever words. When you can also have cohesive stories, right, that are like Nas can give you a cohesive story beginning, middle, and end, right? And with vivid and color and these other textures. Jay can give you that, like a Slick Rick would give you that, but Slick Rick wouldn't necessarily have the metaphors and the word flipping and lyrical miracles, sphericals. And Hov can give you those layers as well as a hit song. I think sometimes people just get caught up in punchline ability.
Right.
Right? And I feel like one of the toughest things to do is consistently on every album deliver a story and also deliver albums that have cohesiveness, not just a collection of songs. Right? I think that also and that's, once again, it goes into favorites versus best.
So if he's a mandatory member of the top 5, sounds like you're saying, like a credible top 5 has to have Hov in it.
Yeah.
Same got to be said for Rakim then, right?
No.
Like you don't have to have Rakim Allah in the
I
top
mean,
5?
Rakim is dope, but let's talk about body of work.
Yeah.
But
right?
I mean, whose influence has been greater?
That's a whole other ingredient.
I don't know. I think that's kind of along the same vein. You know what I mean?
It is,
but
but body of work.
Just because you make a lot of albums don't mean you're great. Now, Hov has managed to make a lot of albums and be great, which separates him from everybody else.
Right.
But a lot of cats, I mean, like we talking about Big, he made 2. One dropped posthumously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, but he's still one of the greatest to ever do.
Yeah,
it.
but when you go song by song with B.I.G. and shout to Puff and everybody and D-Dot and everybody that participated in creating those albums and helping Big really capture a sound and be that amazing, and his vocal ability to cut through and impact and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera,
right.
et cetera,
It overcomes the lack of albums.
It overcomes the
you know
lack
what I mean? So
of material. Yeah. Whereas like Pac, I believe if you narrow down Pac's greatest ones, right? It's amazing, but there's so much material.
They flooded the market after he passed
that
away
it brings
with
down
it,
his batting average sometimes.
Well, see, you may not see this as a great analogy, but Mike and I had this argument about Prince versus Michael Jackson, right? Prince is coming with me on the desert island,
Facts.
right? However,
I'm with you.
Prince is a volume shooter.
Stop.
And let's not
That's got
pretend,
a negative connotation.
Look, let's not pretend
That's got a
as
negative
if all
connotation.
his albums were good. They weren't.
No, you're right.
Raven to the Joy, fantastic. I'm sorry, that was some trash.
Yeah.
When
But
he
why
went
are
through
you
that
looking-
whole symbol phase, it was like.
But why? But see, this is what like why
Now,
why
from
are you trying to be
1979 to 1989.
why are you trying to be contrarian? Why are you looking for
But
something to knock
I
Prince
wasn't,
for?
but I was
when
just
you say
saying,
volume shooter,
he's a
volume shooter, the connotation of volume shooter is he scores 30, but on 35% shooting. Like Prince and Michael Jackson, there's no argument there. There is no argument.
You mean no argument or no comparison? I don't.
There's no
understand.
argument. It's Prince. If you want to compare them, be my guest.
What are you talking
but
about?
that's
It's not
Prince.
that simple.
No, yes, it is.
No, it's not that
absolutely
simple.
not that
It's
simple.
totally not that
If Michael
simple.
Jackson were here, he'd tell you that it's Prince. In his heart of hearts, Michael Jackson. knows
No.
that it's
He loved Prince. Michael
is
Jackson
Prince.
loved Prince.
Like you wanna,
and they had a very good competition.
tell me what Michael Jackson did better than Prince.
What Michael Jackson did better than
What did
Prince?
he do better than Prince?
I would say
Dance? Did somebody say dance in this room? Dance?
Yeah, they said dance.
Well,
I wasn't gonna say
wasn't.
dance.
He
I
wasn't
was
better
actually gonna go to
He wasn't better dancing.
I was gonna just say pop success. I was gonna go straight to like
worldwide sales.
glam, pop star.
Okay.
Which
Fair
that's
enough.
the one thing he did was it was packaged in a way that was momonumental.
When you go Jackson 5 all the way through in terms of his worldwide appeal, in terms of what an
He was
icon
famous for
he
50
is.
years. I mean, it's crazy.
Okay.
I was just gonna go
Okay.
that because I've definitely you aren't gonna do songwriting. You're not gonna do entertaining
Certainly
on
not
stage.
playing
You're not gonna do
instruments.
instruments, right? You're not gonna do and even take this a step. You're not gonna do writing and doing things and breaking other artists'
Correct.
music because Prince
is
had
true.
that on Smash
You're not going
too.
to do instruments. You're not gonna do
Well, yeah,
composition.
we changed.
Yeah,
Y'all
you know,
okay?
yeah.
All right, Prince.
So, but like on the dance tip though, if you want to say dance, it's
Wait,
closer.
we got somebody. Yes,
It's closer.
Yes, you would like to say
I'm
Scotty
saying,
B.
you think Prince can outdance Michael?
Yeah, I don't think he can.
It's a conversation because Prince will dance
not a
while playing the guitar at the same damn time.
But is it the same dance?
Can
that
Prince
Michael
moonwalk?
Jackson does?
Can he moonwalk?
There you go with the moonwalk.
Look, we saw it in
from
Did
Smooth.
Prince have Crips in his video? Did Prince have gangbangers in his video?
From Jackie Wilson to James Brown to Michael Jackson, there's no denying Michael Jackson from a choreography standpoint, his impact.
Michael serious.
But do not sleep on Prince and his ability to dance.
We
That's all I'm
saw
saying.
Michael
That's all
Jackson
I'm saying.
defy
It's not-
gravity
it's
in
not a
Smooth
slam
Criminal.
dunk. That's
Did he
all I
not
mean.
defy gravity?
Facts.
Can anybody live like that?
You got me on a Smooth Criminal. You got me on a Smooth
See?
Criminal.
Thank you.
I've been trying that lean my whole life.
Wait, no, Michael. I'm gonna help you out here.
Yeah.
One thing you cannot do when it comes to Michael Jackson, okay, and the debate, and modern, how do we call it, like choreographed dance as we know it.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson is the god of everything that you see when people line up and dance, and the impact of dance on popular culture. Yes, there were dances always that became, the twist, the this, the that. But memorizing routines, like you see a routine
brilliant.
in a music video and you and your cousins and everybody like, yo, we gotta learn that.
The music video, his
Remember
music
the
video,
time?
when they dropped, when his music videos dropped,
It was an
it was
event.
it was like
It was an
forget
event.
the movies. It's about the music videos.
Yo,
It was
he used to
unbelievable.
take over a whole network.
Yes.
Look,
I remember the news would be
if-
like, yo, tonight
if we-
after the 5 o'clock news,
if we walked out
Michael Jackson's new video is
What
out.
street is this outside? What
That's
street?
Hudson Street right
If we
there.
walked outside and we all started doing Thriller, I bet you 59
Everybody
people
would
would join
join
us.
in.
They start joining. Now, wait, okay, so y'all clap back effectively on Mike. And I wasn't disrespecting Mike. I'm just putting on for Prince.
I just had to put that out.
No, I got you. But here's what I want to ask you because I have
All
never
right.
had the pleasure. Jamel's been, I've never been. Like, there are people, I'm not going to say who, but there are people that say that as great as Michael Jackson's concert performances were, like, Beyonce got something for him in terms of, like, I'm
We're not doing this today.
I've never
brother.
been.
We're not
I'm
doing this
curious.
today.
I'm actually asking. That's not rhetorical. I'm
I've
asking.
heard.
I
I've
mean-
had this conversation.
I've never
and-
been to one of her
and by the
concerts.
way, there are people way older than me in their 50s that give Beyonce right now today accolades of higher than Michael Jackson when it comes to what she has done with touring, stadiums, and electricity on that stage because of singing ability, doing it in heels, choreography, theatrics,
Just come to find out, doing it pregnant.
pregnant.
Right.
Like there's layers to it. Yes, Scotty B.
She is incredible.
No, I'm just saying Beyonce sings upside down. I'm just talking to my
Yeah,
friend.
that's right.
Get, in Baby Boy, she's
she
upside
sings
down.
upside
Yeah.
down.
So I can't really, and I've never been to a Michael Jackson show. So
I saw
really
Michael
can't.
Jackson when he was with the Jackson 5, the Victory Tour. That's how old I am.
So you've seen both Beyonce
I've seen
and
I've
Nicole.
seen Beyonce, I've seen Mike, I've seen Prince.
And you also have to throw in, technology has advanced when it comes to concerts since when
That
Michael
is-
Jackson
yeah.
was doing it.
'Cause she's using
which gives her,
imaging.
which gives
Yeah.
video and
Yep.
gives her a whole other layer. So when Mike was doing it, he was the top of that. But the conversation is happening right now that Beyonce is at par and potentially approaching better
She's the
over
best
the next
performer
decade.
I've seen in my lifetime. Like to go
So that
see a
includes
show.
Michael.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to go see a show. Like
And you've
I've
seen
her-
Janet too.
I've seen Janet too. And Janet, I would have put Janet, I don't know if I'd have put her as surpassing her brother, but she was right there. Now, because it's not just a show that Beyonce gives you, she gives you a story. And Janet gave you a story. She took you from Control to Escapade
Yep.
to all that. Rhythm
Velvet
Nation,
Rope.
all of that. Velvet Rope. She went through the entire thing. And Beyonce and her shows, no two are alike. That's the thing. No two are alike. Like you're not gonna go there and be like, "Oh, this is the part where she does this." Nope. You
Yeah.
have no
What you
idea.
got?
She walked on water the last time I saw her.
Yeah.
Swaffo guy. She walked on water.
Beyonce will take you on
She
an
had
emotional
water out there. I was
roller
like, "Is she
coaster
walking on water?"
I believe that she can.
I was like,
believe
just,
you.
if she
I
turned
believe
it, if
you.
she turned it into wine, I wouldn't have been shocked.
If
I'd
there
have been
was-
like, "Keep the party
If there
going."
was ever going to be a second
Wouldn't have been
person,
shocked.
To walk on water, it'd be her.
And then there was fish and
You're right.
wine and
Yeah.
all types
She
of
taught
things.
the fishermen that turned it,
You know
the
what I'm
loaves.
saying? Come forth, Lazarus.
Hilarious. Super Bowl. Who you got, Michael?
You know what? I'm going with the Patriots here, man. And I would like to
Fuck
see
off, man.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
So
Let me
harsh.
finish. You said when you said who I got, you asking me who I want to win or who am I picking to win?
I didn't.
You didn't even think that deep about it. So I'm telling you, I would like to see the Falcons win. I would like to see them win.
All right, but if you had to put money up, you going with Brady.
My I put this in quotes. My expertise is telling me that Belichick will find a way to limit. I'm not gonna say shut down, but limit Julio Jones.
And throw in that the Falcons coach was second year coach. Head coach.
Dan Quinn,
Dan
yeah,
Quinn.
Second Quinn.
yeah.
And Belichick just crushes new coaches.
Well, but
I mean,
he's
crushes
an
new
experienced guy, but it's not so much that. If you look at the history of Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl, and I know the Panthers put up some points last time in Houston, but he has never lost a Super Bowl because the other team's offense went off. He's always done it because Giants front four neutralized his offense. I don't think the Falcons are going to be able to slow down the Patriots offense to the level that the Patriots defense, while not star-studded, sound enough to say, you know what? Julio's not going to beat us. Yeah, Matt Ryan's thrown touchdown passes to 13 different people. Show us.
So what's your man? What's your man in the backfield for the Falcons? What's your man?
Freeman.
Freeman.
Coleman, yeah. They're going to stop the run. 6-7 people, they'll stop the run. They're not going to let them run. They're going to let them, and they'll move it between the 20s. After they get to the 20s, it's going to be Matt Bryant time.
Yep.
It's going to be Matt Bryant time. That's how they play. They give you those empty yards, as they call it. So Matt Ryan will finish the game with 300-some-odd yards passing, but the Falcons have about 16, 19 points.
For me, I'm rooting for and want to see the Patriots win. And it's not because I'm
What is your problem?
Look,
Why?
Well,
Why?
she
What's
does-
wrong with
I
you?
have a reason.
Why?
This
I don't
tells you.
understand what's happening.
This is going to tell you.
Y'all don't even know. You guys don't know the matrix that you're participating in with this.
But it's for a good
and we'll
reason.
get into my
Does
conspiracy
it feel like there's a
theories
glitch in the
minute.
matrix right now?
No, it
Yeah.
just feels like this. The Patriots thing lines up with the Trump thing for me.
So hold on.
In my
Why
you hold on.
take it there?
in the NFL marketing space, in the Middle American red state marketing space of how they want to control our minds, I feel like it all lines up.
So I
Furious is
I
deep.
didn't want to take her thunder, but what I was going to say to you
Because it's
is,
entertainment, right?
what I was going to say to you
It's
was,
entertainment, right?
this tells you everything you need to know about the commissioner that she would root for the Patriots. Go ahead.
I want the optic of Roger Goodell after that bogus suspension to have to hand the trophy to Bob Kraft, Bill Belichick, and or Tom Brady. I want the awkward handshake. I want him sitting there looking like a fool because they spent millions of dollars on some dumb, deflated footballs. PSI, I mean, they treated that like Hillary Clinton's emails, right? Only for us to find out that it really, well, we already knew it was non-consequential. You don't hear anything about PSI this year. Nothing. They claim
Even
it.
though the Patriots, nobody fumbled the ball for the Patriots that season because the balls were softer, nigga.
Look.
You're not
What
going-
what did Brady do in after they realized the ball level wasn't up to snuff?
Since then, 76 touchdowns and 15 picks.
Thank you. So either he didn't do it, certainly didn't need to because he torched the Colts anyway. So it was just a bogus. It was a bogus deal.
So when she
it was
first
about
said
other
that-
owners being jealous of the Patriots.
So when she
success.
first said that, I said, you know what? That tells you everything you need to know about how people feel about Roger Goodell that they root for Trump's
It's
team.
mostly like making Roger
They
Goodell
must really
and
want
the
Roger Goodell to
establishment
look foolish
like a fool.
to root for Donald Trump's team.
Look, either way,
or President Business, as I call him. I don't even like saying his name. I just call him President Business.
Really?
Yeah.
Y'all mad at Roger Goodell that much?
No,
No.
the president. I don't like
President
saying
Trump.
his name. I call him
Trump,
President
Trump,
Business.
Trump,
Yeah,
Trump.
I don't even like,
I mean,
I don't even like saying his name.
Either way, it's not about disliking Roger Goodell. I don't know him personally, but I think the way that he runs the NFL can be shoddy and hypocritical for a league that is befitting $1 billion industry.
In what capacity does the commissioner of any sport really get to dictate who they're going after when they're really serving
they
the
work
The
for the
interests?
commission of
owners.
any sport?
Yeah, they
or
work for the owners.
The commission
They work
of
for the
any
owners.
sport or that sport?
Oh, it's different.
Oh, I mean, I don't think you could put him next to Bud Selig or Rob Manfred or Gary
Adam Silver,
Bettman
But they
in
all work
terms
for
of-
the owners.
But they all
Well,
work for
but
the
the other
owners,
ones
though.
took more of a leadership role. He just comes off as a puppet. He comes off as somebody they send out there to do their bidding and take the PR bullets,
Got
but
it.
ultimately he's not actually putting a long-term thought into it.
Yeah, like Adam Silver, to your point, is
More of a leader, feels
He's more
like.
of a leader, and you see his relationship with Michelle Roberts completely different. And in that league, where the players ultimately they have the power. It's just the dynamic is way different than it is in the NFL. And Roger Goodell, he let too many owners talk him into a dumb fight, and so for that, I'm rooting for the pettiness of this. It's not really about the Patriots. I could care less.
His background is PR. You know what I mean? So it's like he just doesn't strike me as the type of person that leads. He's reactionary, or he's like, hey, what do y'all want me to do? Y'all want me to go after the Patriots? I'm going after the Patriots.
Whatever y'all want.
Yeah.
Who goes on strike? I hear the NBA is going to strike. NFL?
No, they're good.
NBA's good.
No, they're good.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
And NFL?
NFL's good till 2020.
Till 2020.
Yeah, and baseball's good.
And
Yeah.
We won't see.
We actually have we'll have more peace in our sports unions than we probably do in our worldwide affairs.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no, you won't see a strike
Absolutely.
for a while.
Yeah, very nice. Michael Smith, Jemele Hill, Sports Center, 6 p.m. It starts February 6th. I'm just happy for you guys. I really,
Thank
I'm
you.
just
Thank you.
proud
It's
of
a
you guys.
pleasure to be here for sure.
You guys work very hard, and shout out to all the young people coming up in sports, because I know it's passion for a lot of people that get involved in sports journalism. Some people want to be on television. Some people just want to write. And I know, is it a good thing in your guys' mind, the amount of competitiveness that's taking place because of the, I guess, door opened by ESPN? Because a sports network was a risk when it first started. Entertainment and sports network, which is what ESPN is. Now you have so much competition and so many networks pulling from you guys, coming after you guys. I'm sure you think it's a good thing. The competition.
Oh yeah. No, not just the
I
competition.
mean, we're still the brand,
right?
Yeah,
but
that's
also
not
just the
going anywhere.
outlets, man. I mean, because when we were coming up, it was limited to radio, newspaper, television. And in terms of television, national television was just ESPN. All these different networks, these blogs, these websites, the different avenues that young people now have, or even older people have to share their work. That's a good thing. Just the more you can do that, the better. Because the downside though is you can't get lost in all the noise. There's a lot out there, a lot of people with opinions, a lot of people with information out there. So it can be hard to stand out. But I hope, if nothing else, we're an example that if you're just true to yourself and authentic, that people will respond to it.
Yeah, and I guess selfishly for our business, for our colleagues, I mean, if you have other competition, theoretically, those other people have to compete for your services. So
That's not bad come contract time.
no, it's not. But and even for ESPN, I mean, I think you can run the risk of considering our level of domination and length of it. You run the risk of getting complacent, and that's an issue. If anybody looked into ESPN's early roots, it's an issue that they've never had. But if they had no competition, it's certainly an issue they could run into. And it feels like because of things said about us, these narratives they keep preaching about. One of them, which was SportsCenter's dead and the highlight is dead and all this other stuff. All it does is make us that much more committed to showing people up. And I think it's okay if we operate with the edge, with a little bit of petty. One of the best things we got to do in the Anchorman spoof was Mike drop a ether line on Fox, and that was great. And that kind of, even though Fox is not, FS1 is not on our level, it is.
Shots.
That's not a shot. That's a fact. Even though they're not on our level, it is good, I think, for us to continue to stay in the lab and think of ways where we can, as a company, dominate the next 40, 50
It
years.
was a fact, not an alternative fact.
Yes,
fact.
it was a real fact.
Actual
Not
fact.
fake news.
Not
Yeah.
fake news.
Yeah.
Since we're shitting on Fox Sports 1, Skip Bayless
Yeah.
exits the what was the program him and Stephen A. had?
First
First
Take.
Take.
First Take, which is a popular program. Shout out to Max Kellerman over there now. Is Skip a troll, or is he really just someone who likes the square, super clean cut, no blemishes, white quarterback type guy? Like, is that really who he is? Because that's how it comes off.
Yeah. We
It feels like if an athlete has any level of swag or passion, he doesn't like it.
But he loves the Cowboys. He loved Michael Irvin. I mean, he loves those. He is
yeah, but that's America's team.
Okay, so that doesn't count. I'll say this about Skip.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
a
take it this time.
troll, obviously the implication is that you're just saying things to
Right.
get people to react. I know people have a hard time believing it, but doing the show for years with him, I can tell you, everything that comes out of his mouth, he truly believes. But Skip also kind of puts himself in a bubble, if you will. Like when he worked at ESPN, he lived at the hotel down the street, and he consumed sports on a level that is frankly unprecedented in our business. Like, that's what he did all day. He committed to virtually nothing else. So I'm not surprised that, that he has takes for days. That is, sports, and talking about sports the way that he does on television is truly his soulmate. So, yes, he really does believe that. I think, with the LeBron thing, I've always thought this about him and those opinions, which, obviously come off as harsh. That, to me, was more about his infatuation and overprotection of Michael Jordan. It wasn't really about LeBron. It's about the fact that LeBron, with his presence, with his ability,
with his jersey number,
is challenging something directly about Michael Jordan. And Skip was a Chicago columnist for many years and covered Michael Jordan.
But Skip knows that Michael Jordan, while we all love him and love his clothes and love what he did for changing the NBA, was, as a person, I'm told, a piece of shit.
Well,
where you have somebody like LeBron, who I've met him and I've seen him out and about, and he's a cordial, nice person, and but from what we hear about LeBron, is super giving and helps kids and is involved and is not a piece of shit.
I think in fairness, I think a lot of what Jordan has done has been private for whatever reason. I know he's infamously attached. And I don't think that's what you meant. Did you mean like the teammate that he was, or just how he handled people around him?
Gambling, the way he handled people in public.
For sure. He
had
had flaws.
Just not a nice person. Not the prison industrial complex
I thought you were
stuff.
talking about the Republicans buy shoes stuff.
All that stuff also, but just not at the core, a cordial, good person to be around.
I got you. And I don't know about that, but I don't think, just to answer your original question about Skip, we get asked about him a lot. And I guess I would just say he's good at what he does because he's
he's a good person too, also. No?
Skip? He's fine. He's cool. I don't, we weren't really
tight
like that. We said, I did a lot of shows with him.
He looked you up and down when he saw you?
No, it wasn't like that. He didn't give me, he didn't look at you. No, it was cool. It was cool.
Make you feel short?
We had a very friendly relationship. And I learned a lot from him. And one of the things I learned, the thing about him is whether you're skeptical of his beliefs or where he's coming from, he's the ultimate showman. He got people at ESPN to watch ESPN2. He got people to watch ESPN2 while he was at ESPN when it wasn't popular to do so. Yeah. He built that show. And they broke him off a pretty penny to go to FS1 because of...
You see him coming back?
No.
Never.
No, he never come back for a number of reasons. But he taught me, just watching him, nobody brings it like that dude. Nobody.
I mean, 100% committed. Like
every topic,
it's freakish to watch.
Every day. Like, think about that. Like, I was doing Around the Horn 2-3 days a week. I jump on Sports Reporters every 9, and I was hosting a show here and there. I'd fill in for opposite Skip occasionally. You know what I mean? This dude every day was bringing it. Love him, hate him, disagree or not. You knew he was coming hard.
Prime time.
Every day.
Showtime.
You know, the lights came on, that was it. Mm-hmm. Like Michael Jordan. A producer told me once that the best thing about Michael Jordan wasn't a 38 with the flu in the finals. It was a 38 he dropped on a Tuesday in Sacramento when nobody was watching because he brought it every single day. And that was inspirational when it came time to carry my own show and now to carry it with Jemele. It's like, you know what? Every single day, every single topic, you got to find something, whatever that may be, that sparks a passion in you. Because the people that's showing up, they may not see you ever again. They may be coming in and out. So if you half-assed it or not all the way in on what you're saying, A, you're not going to come off as authentic. B, it's just not going to be a good watch. So no matter what you think about Skip, he comes with it hard. You may think he's going hard wrong.
Right.
But it's hard.
It's there.
So I respect that.
Yo, I don't do a lot of hour-long interviews. What is this, about an hour and a half?
It's been very entertaining.
But
you guys are awesome.
For those that have spent the time watching this, just know when you see your artist come up here and I give them 15 minutes, it's usually because they ain't got shit to say. And this is an example of us having conversations with people who have something to say.
And we didn't even talk about current events.
We didn't even
just
get
touched
to current
on it.
events.
We just
glossed over
we just glossed over president.
Well, I know y'all. I mean, and also too with the Trump stuff, it's just kind of like we're here now, and there are people, and I think over the last few days, I mean, yes, the white supremacy that is seeping and steaming out of the White House, we all see it. The condescension and the way they're just treating women and black and brown people
Well,
around the globe.
But at least Frederick Douglass is getting recognized more now than
Finally.
ever.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing a really good job.
I'm not, y'all.
and let's celebrate Black history by the fact that Abraham Lincoln freed the
Right.
slaves.
You know,
We should
now,
celebrate
by
Black
the way,
history.
that forced me
Right.
to run Googles this morning. National Freedom Day is a real thing. The first day of February is a real thing since like 1942. I never knew that.
I
So
didn't
Mike
know that
Pence
either.
put us on to
And
something.
that-
Still,
that's
the
cool.
meat of the tweet,
I'm about
though.
to say,
Right.
that
The
can't
meat
be
of
your
the
first
tweet
Black
is
history
like-
tweet.
Your first Black
Come on,
history be
B.
like,
What,
hey,
you mean to tell me
Yeah.
y'all are offended by the notion that being reminded that a white man freed you on the first day of Black
Not only,
History?
not only am I
Gee,
offended
thank
by
you,
that,
Mr. White Man, for freeing us.
Not only
from
am I
the bondage
offended
you
by
put us
that.
in the first place.
not only am I offended by that, I'm offended by the tone deafness for you to put that as your first Black
you're like,
history
you know
tweet.
what?
Same.
I'm
Or
gonna
to
kill
get
him
up
with
there
this.
and say and basically act like Frederick Douglass is down the street still working.
Well, see, that's
You
what I
know,
wondered. I was
what
like,
are
okay,
y'all
See, but
doing?
no
that's why I
shade.
couldn't
Do you
get
think
mad.
he
What are
y'all
knew
doing?
he was
He
a,
doesn't
wasn't-
know. And here's
You
the
think
thing
he-
about
But
it.
that's why I couldn't get mad because we knew before they won this
that he didn't know shit.
No, that they
Oh.
were not.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
yes,
Yeah.
but also that they were not in touch with these intricacies,
Right.
of culture in America.
But that's not even
And they weren't-
intricacies.
Well,
that's,
it's
like-
that's American
like it's
history.
Frederick
It
Douglass
is, and
elementary
it
school,
is-
middle
it
schools
is
all
from-
over the
It
country.
is for people from Indiana, bro.
people
It is-
said-
that's an intricacy for
I'm
people
with
They got
from
to have
Indiana.
one Frederick Douglass
I'm with you.
street
But
in
people,
Indiana
people
somewhere.
said that
No,
they
they
weren't.
don't.
People said he wasn't qualified to run the country based on his temperament or lack of experience, and that's true. He's not qualified to run the country because he doesn't know jack shit about
Yes.
America and American
Donald
history.
Dummy. I call him Donald Dummy.
I
but
call
which-
him Biff. I feel like the fucking DeLorean got stolen and Biff's in charge.
Yes.
And Back to the Future
Pretty
Part 2. I'm
much.
like, how did we get
Yes.
here?
Pretty
And it's
much.
like, then people say, oh, you know what? He's a CEO. He knows how to listen to people. If you don't know shit and you don't know what you don't know, then how do you know what to listen to? How do you know what they know?
But that's why I'm not that upset about the happenings over the last
Right.
couple days with Black
'Cause
History.
you're not surprised.
Because I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm just worn out.
Yeah.
Like, what
and
are
it's
we?
we a weekend.
We a weekend. I'm like,
gotta
come
pace
on,
ourselves.
Well, he
man, I
goes. Donald
can't.
Trump goes on vacation this weekend already.
Oh,
It's the
yeah.
quickest vacation of any president.
Yeah, but
10 days vacation, boom, out of here. And we haven't seen his. His wife is. People are like, "Where's Melania?"
in New York, she's here.
Yeah,
she's
she's
not
here
moving
hanging
to
She's
the
out
White
for a
not,
House.
she's not moving to the White
She's
House.
not going.
So that's final.
For all intents and purposes, at least the way it looks optically, his daughter's going to be the first lady.
Yep.
She's the one meeting
She's the
with
one
people.
moving in.
Yeah, she's the one moving in and meeting with people.
Are you
Like,
guys the types that don't think he's gonna last 100 days?
I'm actually the type.
Russell Wilson said in some audio I saw
They had
today.
Russell
No.
Wilson sounding like Malcolm X. He was like, if Russell Wilson getting the takeoff, you already know. We in strange times. Russell was like, look, I'm Stokely Carmichael right now. I'm like, brother, they got Kurt Franklin
That's Sierra.
threatening to put
Sierra in the
a
house
hot
talking about you better say
in Jesus'
something.
name. I mean, we look, as my grandma used to say, we living in the last days. In the last days.
No, look, I actually go the opposite extreme because I'm trying to mentally and emotionally prepare myself. It would be just like America to find a way to reelect him. Like I'm actually preparing myself for 8, hoping for 4. Because he's the most American, let's face it, he's the most American president we've had yet. Because all the bigotry, the misogyny,
You mean the
xenophobia. No, I'm saying
American in the sense of not
Of
the
who we really
not the
are.
version of America that they promote, but
Precisely.
the one that
The
black
real
people know
America.
exists.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. He's the best representation of America yet. Except he's more overt with it. So this was a long time coming that we were going to elect a Twitter troll to be the president.
Yo,
You
and
know?
his wife got nudes. That's crazy. Yo, the president is a Twitter troll, and his wife got nudes. That's out of control, bro.
It's America.
So since we're here,
You were trying to wrap this up like 10 minutes ago.
since we're here, Laura, if you gotta go ahead. Everybody else, if you tune out,
No,
fine.
I'm
We
here
about
for
to
the
go.
Trump stuff.
All right, so here we go. So, I'm not one that subscribes to the notion that factory jobs and the jobs that Americans are used to having are coming back.
I believe in that notion as well. They're not coming back.
And not in a way where I don't want them to come back, but it's just not where the world is today, right? The things that our country was made wealthy off of are able to be created other places where they don't have to necessarily A, use our materials, and B, buy from us per se. The biggest buyer of American products I think is Mexico, and that's based on trade agreements where it's like, you're gonna buy these products.
Who he may or may not invade, depending on what you believe. I don't
So
know.
we punk people sometimes into buying stuff. So out of the agreements that we have, I don't think people know that. So if we isolate ourselves and we're not getting along with everybody, and we want to renegotiate these agreements, what leverage other than the fact that we're America do you guys feel that America has if we go down this path of economic rebirth or what's the, because I don't see it.
It depends. And another factor to mention in terms of why those factory jobs, at least they're not going to come back. They're not going to come back in the vein in which the people who the blue collar workers believe that they will. Like I'm from Detroit, so I know about the factory. Have generations of uncles that worked in them, and robotics. That's the other thing, because even if they robotics and automation, even if they do come back, they're not going to be as many jobs available because they would prefer to invest it in robotics and automation.
And also for you watching, and you're like, but why wouldn't they want to help people? It's also about cost. It's about margins,
correct.
Right? And the more corporate folks that you have in Donald Trump's cabinet that are about their billions and about keeping their margins high so that they can walk away with profits, the more you're going to have automation, because automation also makes it easier for me to not be worried about spending those dollars on health care, on child care for humans, because I have a robot.
Yeah, and they have to realize that a lot of those people who Trump has aligned himself with are anti-union. And that's why I always found it very interesting that blue-collar workers would actually kind of buy what he was selling. I'm like, you do realize his number one goal is to bust your union. Number one. Because they don't want to
deregulate,
bust the union, pay you as little as possible if you even have a job, right? So I don't think that many of the working class people that looked at him and his sales pitch, they didn't look at it from a global perspective. They looked at it from their town. And I understand that. Like, when you got to put food on the table, all you worried about is what's coming in and out of my house.
You're worried about your house. You're not even worried about your town.
You can't think about everybody else, right? You got to think about you. Although, side note, it's really interesting how Black working class people, despite the fact we done had to boot in our ass forever, managed not to vote for a racist. But anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah. We managed not to do it, right? It's amazing how that happens.
But also, too, though...
Well, also, too, you got to factor in that Black people, there's certain things that we are not going to go for, even though it may be good for our pocket. There's a moral compass that I don't think Black people get credit for.
It's a deeper sense of community, too. Because we know we all we got.
Right. So I can't. And we've been bad before.
And we've been bad before.
And we've been real bad before.
Like, as much as...
all of our families are prepared for the worst.
Correct. We're all in a privileged position, both with our platform and probably financially, but we would not vote.
Right.
Like, it would be in all of our best interest to vote and align ourselves with more conservatives, right? But we wouldn't do that just because of, as you pointed out, the sense of morality, but also the sense of, I'm not really voting for me anymore. I mean, frankly, for my pocketbook, it really doesn't matter who's president.
We're going to be all right.
We're going to be all right. I'm voting for everyone else who either didn't vote or from
our children.
Or for the people that are in circumstances which I came out of. That's who I'm voting for.
Well, and then you talked about just basically foreign economic policy. The concern really is you're talking about somebody whose entire life, this is the thing that you're talking about not being surprised, but still you just got to step back and wonder how we got here. It's like, how does somebody whose entire life has been about aligning his pockets, about preserving and protecting his self-interest, doing what's best for him, never been a public servant in 70 years, how does somebody all of a sudden, you're not going to have the heart or the mentality of a servant. You don't know anything about service or sacrifice.
Well, being devil's advocate, can't he put people around him that have that?
But he's not.
But he's not.
I mean,
at all.
Which is why, with his inexperience, inexperience was a part of it. I mean, relative to politics, former President Obama was inexperienced. But if you align yourself with a certain group, I can take you seriously because I can say, even though he knows I could tell by who he chose, he realizes he doesn't know everything.
We love Obama.
You got Ben Carson.
We love Obama. Yeah, you got Ben Carson.
That's
took him
right.
to neighborhoods
And he
never
just
been
took him
before.
to
They were really great.
And I'm a
Ben's doing a great job.
That's right.
Ben's doing a great job.
My bad, I forgot.
And yeah, man, Donald Trump went to places he didn't even know existed in the United States with Ben Carson, and they were really great people. He's very happy about that.
Awesome.
Barack Obama we love, and I think it should be noted at this point in where we are, I've always felt like, and because I've been that person and that Black person that has to deal with the Black folks because the white people don't want to deal with them. Barack Obama was voted in because he was a great person, and he brought hope to a country that needed it after George Bush, right? He was a true American in the marketing sense of you too can do it, right? And he's multicultural and da-da-da-da-da. He was also put in there, in my opinion, to clean up a mess and to keep people calm and appeased and all of these things. And now after Barack Obama, what you're seeing is a money grab by the rich, white, American supremacist even, right? And which I think after this money grab where they reestablish their white supremacy, they make sure they set up wealth, just like they did under the Bush presidency. They set up a bunch of wealth in that time period, right? And the taxpayer had to deal with it, right? When the economy fell apart. You're going to see this time, we're going to, on the other side, have yet another minority who's going to have to come in and clean up the mess.
Well,
And that always happens. And those of y'all that have reached the CEO status and you're a minority or woman, black, Spanish, whatever you are, you ever notice they put you in there because they know that you can talk to the people.
Yeah.
And you can keep people emotionally invested in something that they may have lost hope in. Barack Obama represented that. So when people give Barack Obama a hard time, oh, he didn't do nothing, he didn't do this.
Exactly.
No. He did a lot for people's
This
spirit.
entire campaign.
And he did a lot to transition this country to prepare for jobs of tomorrow. So when they start talking about GDP and
Right.
America's not making as much money, money's not made the same anymore. Unless you're going to do what Donald Trump is doing, which is slash everything, fuck the environment, right? Not give people better wages, right? Deregulate a bunch of corporations and let everybody run wild and hope that your pockets improve. You're not going to see GDP like that ever.
This entire campaign, you think he was a disaster, and you're right. You know, they wouldn't give him credit about anything. But the irony is, you know, whether it's the Muslim ban or whether it's this mission that was greenlit despite lack of intelligence in Yemen. Well, the Obama administration, that was intelligence that they had. So we're just following their lead. The Brown president,
they wanna give
who
him
we
credit
thought
for
was
that.
Muslim,
Yeah.
he had targeted these 7 countries.
That's
So
right.
it's like, oh, okay, now you're giving him credit. Now he's competent. But going back to what you were saying earlier about just the we call it opposite Joe in sports. Because you see it a lot of times with a team, like, they're too loosey-goosey, they're having too much fun, they're not disciplined enough. Let's go hire a disciplinarian. Oh, man, this guy's too hard. Let's go hire a player's coach. And earlier when you talked about the economic policy when it comes to, foreign relations or whatever, the problem is you got a dude who, again, he literally wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. So he doesn't think a deal is good unless we're winning. Everything with him is winning and dominance, and it's got to be what's in our best interest, not a shared interest.
And there are people who want that. There are people who want that.
No, there's a
Absolutely.
lot of
Oh,
people who want
but I'm
that.
saying they're getting
A lot of
exactly what they want out of who they want to get it from. Like, that's what I'm saying. Here's what you were talking about, isolating ourselves. Like, that's his entire MO is like, yo, Mexico's going to pay for it. You're going to do what we say because we're America and we got to win big leagues.
I just
or whatever
wonder,
it is he
did
said.
that even sound right to people?
What,
No, there
big
are
league
people-
or
Like,
big
did it
league?
really sound
No,
right?
people-
Like, did you really think you were going to tell another country,
Yes.
by the way?
Yes.
But you know how Americans
And-
are.
and
They won't
Ameri-
get
but
it until tequila is like $95 for a fifth.
Yeah, but even after the president is telling him, fuck no, we're not
Yo, that
going to pay for
Mexican
it.
president
And
is
then Trump is like,
wildin'.
oh, he just has to say that. Oh, he just has to say that. Oh, he's just saying that. That's what he
Like,
says. He just
yeah.
has to say that.
Well,
Just
I
didn't
do
make any
believe
sense.
in it should go. People in America like tough talk.
They
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
You're so right
They
about
love
this.
tough talk. They love
And
to
especially
think
his
they're
base
leaders.
of white men,
and,
too.
and bullying. But
Yeah.
people like to see. There are people. I'm not one of them because I don't think it's intellectually the way you go about dealing with people. But there are people that like to see our country go out and tell people what to do, and they think that's how we're going to be great again.
Right.
And back to what I was saying earlier about what other countries have now and what they're able to make for themselves now, it's a very different time. It's not post-World War II where you just got to run the globe and tell people how they were going to run their countries. And it's going to, unfortunately for the servicemen and women out there too, I salute you. It breaks my heart to see the amount of disruption that this current leadership is causing in other countries that you're going to have to now.
Because they're the ones that have to deal with it at the ground level.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a very scary thought to see, men and women, boys and girls might be in harm's way yet again. Not that we're not out there harming other people, even under Obama, because that was happening too.
Every
Let's not
president,
act like that wasn't happening too. And yes, many of these countries, because of their inability to communicate, because of their infrastructure were on a list that was very strict under the Obama administration, but it was handled with class and it was handled with tact that didn't cause the
with
population.
foresight,
Right.
with thought.
And with thought and communication,
You know
right?
what I mean?
Which didn't make people feel like they were getting shit on.
Yeah.
And what happened over the weekend basically was like, no, we'll just shit on you. It's fine. And you'll have to deal with it.
Well, and now it's like, but we're going to focus our energies and our focus and our efforts on radical Islamic terrorism. Forget white supremacist terrorism. Forget the hate groups.
Oh, no.
We're going to
Check this
focus
out,
on
fam.
radical Islamic terror. That's what we're going to devote all of our resources to now, right?
Check this
It
out,
never
fam.
came out?
No. Check
you
this
got?
out. The Trump administration wants to revamp and rename a U.S. government program designed to counter all violent ideology.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So that it focuses solely on Islamist extremism. 5 people briefed on the matter told Reuters. The program countering violent extremism, or CVE, would be changed to countering Islamic extremism and ignore white supremacist groups who have also carried out bombings and shootings in the United States.
So the Dylan Roofs of the world, we don't care about them.
That's okay.
We ain't worry about them.
Yo, it's real out here, man. Jemele and Michael, I love you guys, man. I'm proud of you.
Appreciate
Same
you.
Yo, that
man.
just took
Appreciate
the whole
you.
air. See, I was gonna stay off current because I felt like we was moving sports, music.
Yeah,
you know.
I told you we don't stick to
Yo,
sports, man.
Negro, stay in your place, man. Music
I will,
and
my bad.
sports, man.
All right.
Make us
Let
laugh
me go.
and dance,
Yes,
man.
let me go share crop somewhere.
Yo, give it up for Jemele, Michael Smith, Sports Center, 6 p.m.
Appreciate
starting
y'all,
February
man.
6th.